financial psychologist, also a licensed clinical psychologist, and a real estate agent. She's all those things. So if you don't know me already, I'm Dr. Kamani. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, a toxic job survivor, but more importantly, I'm a toxic job liberator for Black women. And I work with Dr. Roche. Dr. Roche was the Black woman I worked with to help me get my financial exit plan together so I could leave a very toxic job and do well financially. So we're going to talk about life insurance today, but we're also going to talk about the financial masterclass that we're going to do again this January. So if you want to be a part of that, I will put that information so you can get on the waiting list. So Dr. Roche Brown, can you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, of course. Thank you again, Dr. Kamani. I love coming to your channel, and thank you to all of your community for having me. I am Dr. Roche Brown, also known as the Doctor of Rethinking, because I help people to remix their thinking so they can make money, they can manage their money, and they can multiply their money. And that's what I like to help people do. Life insurance is just a way and a vehicle to multiply your money, and of course also protect your money. And that's what I like to help people. So I am licensed a life insurance agent, as well as a licensed clinical psychologist, and I call myself a financial psychologist as well.
Awesome. So Dr. Roche, can you talk a little bit in terms of what are the important considerations for Black women as they think, wait, I have insurance in my job, is that enough? What are some important things that Black women should know?
Yeah. So oftentimes we think like, hey, we have life insurance at our job, so we're good. That's usually we like kind of in there, but most of the time the life insurance at your job is usually like only 1 year of your salary, oftentimes. So it's not even that much. And then also it is a term policy. Now the term of your job, of the term of it is the fact that you're working there, which means if you exit from the job, the life insurance is no longer.
Ah,
Okay?
you can't take it with you.
And you can't. So some jobs will allow you to take it with you, but
Okay.
it's going to cost more money, right? It's going to be more expensive because what you're under at your job is a group term policy,
Hmm.
right? And so it's like very cheap, like really inexpensive, like, oh, a couple of dollars. I do believe that if you have life insurance at your job, why not have it? I mean, it's like $10 a month and maybe even less. So go ahead and have that additional coverage on
Mhm.
you just in case. However, you still need something outside of your job that you control and you manage.
Ah, okay. So like a supplemental policy.
Yes.
Okay. So when you at your job, if you have a group policy, you say it's probably a good idea to do that. It's group
Hmm.
coverage.
Yeah.
So how do you get supplemental life insurance coverage and why is that important?
Yeah. So you would go to a licensed life insurance agent. Okay. Some people will just go directly to insurance companies in order to get it. But I do think that it's important to have like your own life insurance agent. I often tell my clients that I am not only your life insurance agent, I'm your agent for life. Okay. Like, so I'm with you for the whole ride. Right. And so it's good. So you can still ask more questions over and over again about your life insurance. If you go to the life insurance company and there's no relationship with your life insurance agent, then you really don't understand all the benefits. Maybe you're just getting a piece of it, but you're like, wait, there's more to it. And so
Mm,
that's why it's important to have like an actual personal life insurance agent. So that's why first of all, seek that.
mhm,
And then once you seek that, you want to make sure that you have enough life insurance. Okay.
mhm.
And you find out like how much is enough. So there is like an actual industry standard, and it's an acronym that tells you how much you need.
Hmm.
Okay.
Can you go over that?
Yeah. So it's called the DIME method, DIME. Okay. And so D is debt. So let's think of like a person who is, has a husband and a family, like, children. You want to look at what is going to be the debt that I am going to leave when I pass away, that my partner or my family will have to take care of. Okay. And it's really simple for you. If you're listening right now, like you could do the numbers real quick. Like, hey, I probably about have about $30,000, $40,000 of debt or something. The I represents income. Okay. Income. So usually people will say whatever your annual income is, that you should decide to have that at least times 10. Okay. So say your annual income is 100,000, you should at least have 1 million. Okay.
Mm,
Now, the question might be like, why? Like, it sounds like a lot. So it depends. It just also depends on how long you might need it based on like your children. So you want to think to yourself like, well, I have a 5-year-old. Well, this 5-year-old is going to need my annual income at least until they're maybe 25. So then you say like, okay, well, like if something was to happen to me today, I don't want anything to be their lifestyle to be interrupted in any kind of way. So I'm going to need my annual income at least until they turn, 25 years old or maybe 20 years old, whatever is your choice. There, okay. Then the M represents mortgage. Now, this is the part that seems the easiest for people to really clearly understand is the mortgage. If you own a home, right, and your partner, you guys are in a 2-income household, most likely, and something ends up happening to you, you want your family to still maintain and be able to keep the home. There's many people who lose homes, right? And the reason is because they don't have enough money to be able to take care of it. They don't have enough income to refinance in order to like keep the home. And so what you do is you have that, you have to look at how much mortgage is still left on the home. So let's say, I mean, I live in California, you live in California, so that could be pretty
a lot, right?
Like that's like, no joke kind of thing. So it may end up easily looking like, I don't know, 500,000, maybe even more. And so you want to make sure that you have at least like $500,000 of coverage. So you can say, hey, partner, if something happens to me, at least this will take care of the home. That's the M for mortgage. And then E is representative of education. Okay. So then the question is like, if you have young children, do you want them to go to college? How much do you think college is going to be? So maybe you'll think, oh, maybe it'll be like $50,000, maybe it'll be 100, and you add that on there to make sure that you have enough life insurance.
Wow. Okay. Those are some really good considerations. So so you mentioned about term life insurance. What is term life insurance and what is it whole life?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes people call it whole life.
Yeah.
So term policy, there's positives and negatives of each. Okay. So a term policy is usually inexpensive. Okay. That's the positive, right? Like oh, I don't pay that much for it. It's good. It's like feels affordable and everything like that. Right. So maybe you're paying, I don't know, $50, $60 a month and you have $500,000, maybe even $1 million worth of policy, depending on when you got it. Okay. So it feels very affordable, like inexpensive. Then the negative of it is that it's going to expire. Okay. So usually term policies either go 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. The longest that I've ever seen is 35. Okay. And so just imagine, say you're a 30-year-old person and you decide to get a term policy. Okay. You end up getting that. Now, when you turn 65, the policy is going to go bye-bye.
What happens to all the money you paid?
That's what people always ask me. Like, they're like, wait, it's like having car insurance, right? You end up having insurance, you pay on the insurance, right? Your car insurance, if you never get into a car accident, you don't have to, it doesn't get used.
Otherwise, that money gone, right? Okay.
It's all gone.
Got it.
Right. And that's important, like for people to understand, like it's gone. So I often tell people that term shouldn't be the only insurance you have. Right. Because let's say now you're 65, 66 years old, and now you're like, oh, wait, I need insurance on me because that insurance is over.
Yeah.
Now you're a 65-year-old trying to get insurance compared to when you were a 30-year-old getting insurance. Okay. And prices and costs are based on your age.
Wow.
And your medical. So like the longer that we live, the likely, higher likelihood that something might happen to us, right? Something. It could be even simple as just becoming overweight, right? What your size is at 30 and 65 might be different.
Right.
So those might be the reasons. And if you end up looking at that, that medical or obesity or whatever the case is might happen, and it may even possibly decline you. You won't even get even insurance. Maybe it'll cost too much or cost a lot more than what it would have cost if you got it earlier. So those are things that you have to think about. Like it's okay to have a term, but because the term is inexpensive, right? It might cover the house. But if you wanted to leave legacy for your children and make sure there was something left over, even of course for burial purposes, then you need an additional policy.
Wow. Okay. And then what's whole life?
So whole life, the positive of a whole life is that it's permanent. And it's like the namesake says, it lasts your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But it additionally has something called cash value. Okay. And cash value is like a savings account that rides along your life insurance.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, grandma and them, this is something that's been there for like hundreds of years, but they would actually borrow against it and actually get money out. Oh,
Hmm.
I need some money. There's a financial hardship happening or something. Let me take some of that money from my life insurance policy because there's a savings account that's actually there.
Hmm.
Okay. And now depending on what type of permanent policy you have, some of them only grow at 2 to 3%, right? Some of them grow at like 3 to 4%.
Mm-hmm.
There's also some that grow like around 6 to 9%, and that's really good interest. That's like higher than even banks interest,
Mm-hmm.
even a high yield savings.
Mm-hmm.
So now your money can be multiplying inside of that policy. So you can grow money. And so that money can be used for anything. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
that cash value can be used for a college fund. So if you have young
Mm-hmm.
kids, hey, that'll be a college fund for them. Maybe that's money that, you can use for retirement. So I
Mm-hmm.
personally use my life insurance policy for retirement purposes. Right. So I actually by the time actually I'm 55, because at the time I first got my policy, I was 31 years old, 32, 131, 32. And by the time I'm 55, I will be able to retire and take, income from my policy to keep me
Hmm.
like living and keep me going.
Okay, so it's with a whole life policy.
Yes.
Okay, but somebody's talked to a real estate, a life insurance agent to really get the right thing, right? Because they
Yes.
might
Yes.
be confused and everybody say I want a term, but they really need a whole life.
Yeah, well, see, that's why having a personal life insurance agent is important,
Mhm.
because depending on the life insurance agent, like I do all of them. I help people with terms. I help people with like whole lives. They're called
Mhm.
universal lives, index universal lives. I help with all of them. Because I help with all of them, I'm well versed in all of them, and I'm
Mhm.
not necessarily saying you have to have one or the other, but I'm going to
Mhm.
inform you enough to tell you can say, oh, I like this one better than this one, right?
Okay.
Now,
Mhm.
some people only do term. There's life insurance agents who only do term policies.
Hmm.
So they're only going to speak to this one thing.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
if that's the only that they say, you'll be like, oh, well, at least I have life insurance.
Right. Now, what's universal?
Universal is the same thing as like whole life. Like,
Hmm.
it is permanent. It's a permanent thing.
Mhm.
However, it's more flexible. So the flexibility means like you have the ability to add more money into it. So let's
Hmm.
say your monthly premium is $300 a month.
Mhm.
Okay. You can say, oh, wait, I want to actually put in like 7. It will allow you to put in $700 a month.
Mhm.
Now that extra $400, it goes into the savings account and is growing at like, that percentage that's
Hmm.
higher than the bank. And
Mhm.
then now I'm able to take money out. When you take money out
Is
from
there a
your life,
penalty?
no penalty. There's no penalty. Exactly. And taking it out. Okay. Now it is considered a long-term vehicle. So usually there's like 2 different columns. There's some money in the account and there's some money that's available to you. And
Mhm.
so initially when you first get it, the first couple of years, there might not be any money available to you.
Mhm.
But then after a while, there's money available that you're able to take. And normally around the 15th year mark of you having it,
Mhm.
whatever is in the account is available to you, like the rest of your
Wow.
life. Right. And so that means that for a lot of people, that might even be before 59 and a half, and like most of our 401ks or IRAs, we can't even touch them
Mhm.
until after 59 and a half. So now this is money you can touch way before the, average age of touching money, usually.
Without penalty. That's always a big
Without
thing.
Yes,
Big
without
consideration.
exactly, without a penalty actually happening, and you can do whatever you want. On top of that, it's a tax advantage. So you don't pay taxes on it. So say you have $50,000 inside of there, you take it out, no tax,
Mm.
right? Compared to your 401k, you take money out, it has to get taxed.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
this is another way to, manage your money and to multiply it, have it grow, don't have to worry about taxes,
Mm.
and then take it out during retirement time, doing whatever.
Mhm. Okay. So I thought of this other question as you
Yeah.
were talking. So when people talk about life insurance, I think some people have like a stigma about talking about life insurance, or there's some kind of issues with thinking about life insurance. Can you speak
Yeah.
about that, please?
Oh my goodness, yes, right? Like it happens like all of the time, okay? So what tends to happen for most people is life insurance can be associated with death, right? So if the first thing that I say to somebody is, what do you think of when you think of life insurance? A majority of the people would say death. That's what I think of. Now we
Mhm,
have a lot of fear when it comes down to death and the unknown. So
mhm,
that makes us afraid to even consider life insurance because we're already
mhm,
thinking like that
mhm.
means I have to die. You know,
Right.
I don't
I
want
don't
to
wanna think about that.
be dying, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's like the number one reason. Now there's other layers to it. For some people, they've experienced life insurance not work for other people.
In
Okay.
what way?
So for instance, maybe like grandma, big mama, something like that, like she passes away
Mhm.
and then the life insurance is not there. Now, what they can recall is a life insurance agent, especially back in the day, life insurance agents used to come every month in order to collect your payment.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Before we start just doing regular drafts.
Mhm.
That actually even happened. Like my grandma, like I saw the life insurance agent come and pick up a check. Isn't that
Wow.
something? Like talk about a relationship. Okay, it was different type of thing.
Uh-huh.
So that person would do that, and so you see that, and then all of a sudden she passes away, and then there's no life insurance. Well, why would that happen? It's probably because the type of life insurance she had. So remember, I was
Ah,
talking about the term policy.
right.
You don't realize that it's not because the life insurance is bad, but
Right.
she wasn't educated on the fact that of term versus the whole life and all of that. So now, you've seen her paying for so long. So now she's like 85. You assume there should be some insurance there. But
Mm,
remember, the insurance expired.
right.
you
Right.
know and people are not aware of that. I mean, I literally just saw a Facebook post about it on my like personal page where somebody was like, oh, like, my her insurance is gone and and she's 83. Well, the insurance expired at 80.
Wow.
It had just expired.
Oh my
Right
god.
now you're 80 something years old trying to get life insurance. It's a different game.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Different game. And so those things make people feel skeptical about
Yeah.
life insurance and make people feel like, is life insurance a scam? But it's
Ah,
really because we're not educated on it.
that's a really good point. And then that stays in our mind. And then we just make that association and the fear about dying. And
Yes.
what's interesting is that I think a lot other groups, ethnic groups, talk about, what happens when I pass away and
Yes.
legacy and all this stuff. But as a people, generally, we don't talk about it because we're so fearful of if I talk about it, even the superstition of if I talk about it, it's going to happen. And that doesn't,
Exactly.
no, it doesn't mean that. But we're
Yeah.
talking about being prepared for when it does inevitably
Yes.
happen, that your family's prepared. So, what
Mhm.
about people who say, well, I'm single.
Mhm.
Why do I need health insurance? I don't have kids or I don't have a partner. Or, why do I need health insurance as a single person?
Yeah. Or like to get life insurance as a single person.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm a single person, right? Like not married, no children. And so there, because of the different benefits of life insurance. So if we kind of talk a little bit about the benefits, some benefits may be better than others. Okay.
Hmm.
So one benefit is, of course, the death benefit. We know that if I pass away, that
Hmm.
my family will be covered. Okay, that's like
Hmm.
number one thing.
Hmm.
Now, if you're a single person, you might want to think about that because you may have anticipated needs, right? You may say, "Oh, well, I do want to have children one day," right? Like,
Hmm.
so I don't have children today, but I will have children. I don't
Hmm.
have a home today, but I will have a home, and have an asset. I don't have a
Okay.
husband today, but I will have a husband. So you may be thinking right now in your life, hey, I might as well take advantage of this age currently, because I know in 5 to 10 years that may be a different story. So
Got
why
it.
not get insurance at a younger age? So
Got it.
that's the death benefit piece. Another thing about life insurance is that it has something called living benefits. Okay. Now this is so important. Living benefits means that, God forbid, you get a critical, a chronic, or a terminal illness. So
Hmm.
let's say cancer, heart attack, stroke, right? We know that those things happen all the time. Like most
Hmm.
of us can say, like, oh, yeah, it's like, I think statistics say 1 in 2 people get cancer.
Oh
That's
my
crazy.
gosh.
That's how significant it is. That's a
Oh
lot.
wow.
Okay. So
Wow.
1 in 2. that's quite a bit of people
Yes,
that
it
can
is.
actually end up getting it, right? But let me tell you, the other part that's most important is the survival rate right now. Survival rate is like 70 to 80%. Most
Mm,
people survive
yeah,
having a critical illness, right? And if you think about that, if you're going to survive having a critical illness, you need money now. Like,
true.
right? You don't need money later. You need money right now. And
Yeah.
so if you have like a $500,000 policy, they will give you 70% of it right now. Imagine getting a check, right? And that's what I actually like. One of my clients is gonna get a check soon. For she ended up having a heart attack. Especially when we think about Black women, we talk about liberation from jobs, right? We talk a lot about why we need to be liberated from jobs, why we're experiencing all of this stress from our jobs. It is very high that we have cardiovascular issues, high blood pressure, more likely to get strokes and heart attacks, right?
Yes.
But we
Unfortunately.
are surviving them, right?
Yeah.
Because of medical technology. However, now you need money now. That's adding an additional stress that I cannot work when I'm going through my healing process, right? And so the living benefits will give you money right now, like a big check. You know what I mean? Like this is huge. I seen a check. This guy got a check. He had colon cancer, $220,000.
Wow.
He
So
only had
question,
a
so
policy
he
for
gets the living benefit, and then does it also still cover when the person eventually passes away?
Yeah, so it'll just reduce it. So say you had 500,000 and they give you 200,000 of it, now it's 300,000 for your family.
Oh, wow.
So you just
Okay.
got what is called, the technical term is an accelerated benefit. So it's like giving you the benefit early is
Hmm.
what's happening.
Got it. And I've
Yeah.
seen the chat. I was shocked to learn that once I leave my job, I'll no longer be covered. Yes, that's exactly what we're talking about. So
Yes.
can you repeat what we talked about earlier in relation
Yeah.
to having that life insurance attached to their job and what we need to think about as Black women?
Yeah. So a life insurance at your job is considered a group life insurance, right? And it's a term type of policy. But the term is you being associated and employed with that job. So once you exit that job, it is null and void. It's gone. You no longer have that insurance, right? And the exiting doesn't have to only be that you decided to leave. Exiting could be retirement, right? Like you stayed there. Even retiring, it doesn't mean that that benefit goes along with you after
Mm,
you leave. So that means that's
wow.
65, right?
Wow.
Like, and you still don't have that benefit. And
Okay.
so one of the questions, for those of you guys who are considering like leaving your jobs and stuff like that, and we'll cover it again in the financial masterclass that we have in the new year, but you have to ask, like, is this life insurance portable, right? And portable means that it can go from that it can leave with me once I leave. And if
Hmm.
it is portable, how much will it cost? Because it's not going to be
Mm.
the same price as what you pay while you're working there.
Wow. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I think most of us know nothing about that.
Exactly. You don't even think about it. You just leave,
Yeah.
right?
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Okay. And so for Black women, a lot of Black women watching this channel
Right.
are making some types of plans about leaving. So they're either leaving because the job is toxic, they've outgrown it, they're just ready to go. So what are some important, I guess, action steps for Black women to take if they're thinking about, they're just starting to think about wanting to leave that toxic job or a job they've outgrown?
Yeah. So number one, sign up and register for our masterclass. Right? Because it's a full masterclass that's covered with the exact steps of everything. But another thing that you want to think about, of course, is do you have enough money to do it? But also like all the benefits that you have at your current job, how will you replace them when you decide to leave? Okay. And so that could be like, we talk about health insurance, in the master class, but also like the life insurance piece, which we're talking about today, is you really want to think about like, how do I replace my life insurance? Now say your plan to leave your job may not be for a year or two, or maybe even 5 from leaving. You want to still consider, let me look into life insurance right now. Let me get something for myself now, because I tell people like, you are the youngest you will ever be today. Okay.
That's true.
That's just what it is. So,
Yeah,
and it's going to be cheaper when you're young. So
that's
you
true.
got to go ahead and knock it out now.
Yeah.
and you know, and look at the finances. You know, one of the things that I do, which is a additional service, but part of my life insurance, and it's free. It's free. Let me put that in FREE
My
aspects,
favorite
right?
words. Okay.
It's free for me to like, hey, let's look over your finances. Kind of what are your goals? You
Mhm.
know, like how much money is coming in, how much money is coming out. And then now we understand, hey, you have this much discretionary income at the end of the month. Let's talk about how much of that should be going towards your life insurance. So it
Mhm.
can be something that is that feels affordable, feels comfortable to you. You
Mhm.
start to see life insurance not as just an expense, but an investment into
Mhm.
like my future, investment into my family. I call it
Mhm.
loving them beyond, right? Like
Oh,
loving them beyond, right? I want
right.
to love them, you know, forever, right? Like literally, even when I'm not physically present, I still want to love on them. And that is
Mhm.
one thing that life insurance allows you to do.
Good. Oh, I see this comment. I love it. These ladies have been a blessing to me. I've retired. Take the class. Yes. So take the
Yes.
financial masterclass. Thank you for that testimony and
Yes.
that voice of confidence. So the
Mhm.
financial masterclass will be this January with Dr. Roche Brown and I, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But thank you for that endorsement. So, Dr. Roche, you shared a lot in terms of why it's so important for us to be aware, right? So I think we have the stigma about life insurance. Oh my
Mhm.
God, what does that mean? If I talk about it, I'm going to die. What does this mean? But
Yeah.
being informed, and even if we are starting to make plans, you might be at the beginning stages of thinking about leaving your job. It's
Yeah.
important to talk to a life insurance
Insurance
agent like
agent. Yes.
yourself,
Yes.
start preparing to get ready.
Yes.
So, can we talk a little bit more in case people were late coming in or if they just are not quite clear?
Yeah.
What are the functions of life insurance?
Yes. So, like I said, number one, death benefit. It's going to go to your family, take care of them. Second benefit is that living benefit, right? So if you were to get that chronic or critical illness, that will end up, being accelerated to you. You can get it early. One thing we understand is that medical emergencies tend to be like the number one reason why people go bankrupt. And
Mhm.
so we never can anticipate something's going to happen, but we want to be
Right.
prepared for it if it does.
Yes.
So living benefits is a function of the life insurance. The third function is that cash value. So when you end up getting a permanent cash value life insurance, right, you have that savings that's there. Now, that savings, like I say, it can be used for anything, for a number of things.
Mhm.
Now, one of those things could just be something simple as, hey, I'm having a financial adjustment, need to have some money to take out, right?
Mhm.
I want to leave now. Like if for those of you guys who maybe not in a toxic job today, you know, or you just want options, right? It doesn't have to be toxic, but you want options to go out and live a dream that you know is inside of you. And
Mhm.
now you have that cash value. You say, hey, well, I have $50,000 in my cash value of my life insurance. This will
Mhm.
make it easier to make that decision. Now, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've been seeing a lot of posts on Instagram lately where
Yeah.
people are talking about, I'm just tired of working. I'm tired of
Yes.
the rat race. I don't want to promote. I don't want to play the games.
Yes.
I'm done with this. I'm tired. So
Yeah.
this one option, even if the job is not toxic, it's just, I'm
Yes.
just done. Okay.
Yes.
Good
Exactly.
to keep in mind.
Yeah.
So can you talk, because you mentioned about how you can own a 401k with
Uh-huh.
life insurance?
So you can turn your 401k, like I call it like, I mean, you can create your own 401k with the life insurance, is what I'm saying. And so, there's differences in how like 401ks and there's different ones, right? There's different ways that taxes have happened, right? We have
Mhm.
401ks, TSPs at certain jobs, deferred comp, traditional IRAs, all of these different things, 403b. Those all fall in this tax category that tells us that you'll get taxed later on.
Mhm.
Okay. So it's never been taxed. None of this money's ever been taxed. It's going to get taxed when you take it. Well, life insurance falls in a category called the tax advantage category,
Mhm.
which means like if you think about like a Roth IRA, most people have heard of Roth IRAs.
Mhm.
It operates like that. So when you take money out of it, you don't get taxed on the money.
Mhm.
And when money is growing, we don't want to be taxed on that money when we see it, right? Often I always give people the example, if you have $25,000 and it grew to 250,000, which one would you prefer to be taxed on? Well, most
Not
people
the
say,
200. Yeah.
yeah, I want to be taxed on the small number,
Right.
right? But my 401k says tax me now, don't tax me later. And in the life insurance, you're ultimately being taxed at the 25 zone. So when you see 250, you're good to go. You never have to get taxed again. Nothing happens. You're able to plan for your life with a real number compared to a number that we're unsure of.
Right. Right. Now, I see a question came in the chat. I've learned that anything over term life insurance is a waste of time and money for single, no children, dependents people. Is Dr. Roche saying something different?
Yes. So I am saying something different. I personally have an index universal life insurance policy or a cash value life insurance policy. And that's because I use the cash value in order for me to retire and for like my money to grow. Okay. Now, some people, when they talk about having a term policy, what they say often is buy a term policy and invest the rest. That is the terminology. Buy a term and invest the rest. Well, the problem is they never tell you what the rest means. Like what does that even mean? And nobody even teaches you how to invest, right? So how would
and why, right? Like,
right.
So you don't know at the end of a certain term, you don't have any life insurance. You don't know that.
Right. Yeah. It's like nobody understands that. Now, if you're a person who like has, you're saying like, no children, no dependents, and you don't want to give any money to anybody or whatever the case is, and you're okay with that, then hey, get yourself a term, let it go. Like if it's not something that is important to you. Right. Now, if you have nieces and nephews, you have, like I say, some type of legacy you would love to send to even a church or a charity, then I believe that you should definitely have a permanent policy. Now, for a person like me, I am a person who I don't have children yet, but I do believe that legacy is inside of me, that I will be giving it out in some type of capacity, whether that means having my own child, having an adopted child, having a bonus child, have like something that I know that I'm going to still do. And I know I own 2 homes right now, and I want to be able to give those homes to somebody. So I'm really big on leaving something at the end, even though I'm a single person, no dependent, no children person. So you want to think about that for yourself, right? But additionally, if you're still young and you have time for the money to grow significantly, now you have money for retirement. Like I set mine up, like literally, I got it at 32. I wish somebody told me this when I was 25. I got my doctorate degree when I was 25. So I've been making money a long time, okay? For a long time. And so if somebody had given me this test, maybe I could be retired at 45, okay? If I understood all of these things. But the fact that I'm able to, from 31 to 55, I will have money coming in every single month, more than most people end up getting from their regular retirement, because I've set my life insurance policy up that way. So that is helpful, right? No matter what, it's extremely important. So I don't think term is bad at all. I just don't believe it should be the only insurance that you have. If it is the only insurance you have, make sure that it has that living benefits on it that I was talking about. Because even term policies follow that living benefits. So if you get a critical chronic illness during the term, they will accelerate that benefit to you early. So you still want that aspect on your life insurance.
Yeah. And I see she commented, yes, I've listed all of those as beneficiaries on my 401k and brokerage accounts. Good. So you got ready. Okay, good. So Dr. Roche, as we're starting to wind down, can you please share about the services that you offer, how you can be contacted, including your YouTube channel, which we're streaming on her YouTube channel now simultaneously, and about the financial masterclass. What are we going to be talking about during the financial masterclass?
Yes. So, I do a couple of services. Of course, I am a life insurance agent. Those of you guys who've been listening to it from the beginning, I am a licensed, clinical psychologist. And so, of course, I do therapy. I don't do it often with a lot of people. Okay. I have my regular job that I'll do it for two days a week. That's all I got inside. But I definitely am a life insurance agent, but I also will go further into your finances. So I have clients who I call them like VIP sessions, where we're still able to go deeper into your finances, help you with like debt management, if that's what's going on, a savings plan that makes sense, exiting your job. That's a huge thing, that we've been talking about a lot. So if you're trying to exit your job and you're like, what does that plan look like? Let me look at my numbers. I'm too anxious to do it on my own. Let me have somebody to help me through that process, help me to think through it in a different way. Like all of that. That's what I also will help in with services. And then also we have the financial masterclass, which at this point we have done. This will be our third financial masterclass.
Yeah.
And they have, we had a testimony already in the comments. I'm sure there'll be more as, replays and different things happen. But we have, many women that went through the masterclass.
Black women.
Black women specifically. We have many Black women specifically who are leaving their jobs, their toxic jobs, right? Developing a financial plan. This is one of the biggest things that we talk about there, is how to develop a financial plan and a financial timeline in order to leave your job.
Yeah.
If that is something that is inside of you, right? And you're like, I need to leave this job for my health, but I don't know what to do. Like, I'm afraid. That's one of the biggest things that people are fearful of is, well, what do I do about money? Yeah. That's how these jobs have these golden handcuffs on us. What do I do about money? What do I do about benefits? Well, we talk about that in the class, right? What do I do with my own emotional fear, my identity of who I am, right? Yeah. Talk about that in that class. And so at this point, the third time through, you know what I mean? We have now mastered the financial masterclass. Okay.
Right. Exactly.
We know the questions. We know the issues.
Yes. And really addressing those fears that you might have about leaving the job. Let's identify what those fears are. Let's address them. As someone who has left a toxic job, there were so many fears. And my main fear was finances. I'm not going to pay my bills. And I work with Dr. Roche to get my financial plan together. So because she has been so wonderful and so key to me being able to transition out of a toxic job and do well financially, I said, you know what? I want to partner with her to provide financial masterclasses to other Black women. So it is a very important resource because, again, if the finances is the main thing keeping you there, we need to figure out other options. We all have other options. Even though we may not know about it, we may not believe it, we have other options, and we're here to show you the way, okay?
Yes.
So everyone, please check out Dr. Roche. I will have her information in the description section, and check out the Financial Masterclass, which will be this January. Again, if you want to get on the waiting list for that, please click the link that will be in the description section so you get on the waiting list. So as soon as we open those doors, you will be able to get in for early registration so you can save a little bit of money. Okay. Yes. So Dr. Roche, I'm going to give you the last word for our, as we're winding down today.
Yeah. So, thank you again for having me on and, speaking to your community. September is Life Insurance Awareness Month. Okay. And that was another reason why I wanted us to talk about it in this particular month. We need to bring awareness to it. A lot of us only have very limited thinking when it comes down to life insurance. So I really want people to be educated on life insurance, have a sister girl who can help you out, who can teach you, can break it down. Like that's like, so it can feel more comfortable in order to move forward with it. And so that's what we're, doing, this whole entire month. But of course I do it throughout my whole entire career is life insurance. I've helped over 400 families actually get insured. Wow, which is crazy. I was looking at the numbers. I was like, what? So I've helped so many people. So I'm really about educating people about it and having the understanding that they need. Right. And also how to grow money, because it's a fantastic way to grow money without having to learn how to do the stocks. Okay. So I want that to be something that you guys partake in. So holla at your girl, even if you already have life insurance. I can maybe review what you have so far. Does it make sense? Do you need something else? Am I able to beat your price? Let's talk about that. So even for those who don't have it, let's definitely get on the call because you definitely need to get some and you want to understand it better. But also those of you guys who do have it, at least let's understand what you already have at a deeper level as well.
Yeah. And can you just briefly speak to the whole issue of generational wealth? Because I think you said that you presented like a family reunion or something like that. Yes. And a young man was taking notes, 14.
Yes.
Think about an option is not only individual,
Yeah.
but groups really working
Yeah.
with you to really support that generational wealth.
Yes. So generational wealth building, I mean, the like one of the number one ways to build generational wealth would be through life insurance, right? It's a lot, it's easy, to do. Like you're able to get hundreds of thousands of dollars for pennies, honestly, when you really
Mhm,
look at the numbers of life insurance.
mhm,
So amazing right there that it can build generational wealth. We've
mhm,
even noticed now that as we're talking about to Black women specifically,
mhm.
my mentor did like some research on who has more policies, Black America versus white America, right? And what she found out is that Black America has more policies. However, we have 10 and 20, $30,000 policies, but they have $500,000 policies. What does that tell
Wow.
us, right? When we think about generational wealth,
Mhm,
oftentimes we just think, hey, just bury me. We
mm,
don't think about leaving wealth to the next
mhm,
generation. Like,
mhm,
imagine right now if somebody gave you $100,000.
mm,
How would that change your life if you got
mm.
$100,000?
Right. Drastically.
Significantly. You in a
Mhm.
business, now your business can scale, right? You never were able to buy a home, now you're able to purchase a home. I
Mhm,
mean, it significantly changes your life, right? You leave
mhm,
that job. Like, if somebody gave you $100,000, why not be that person for someone else, right?
mhm,
Another loved one coming on after you, most likely your child, right? Why
mhm,
wouldn't you want to be that for them? So I
mhm.
think that's something that we have to really like, take in.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, when I did the family reunion, the ages was from 6 to 83 in the room.
Wow.
6 years old. Right now, the 6 years old, they don't know exactly, but I gave them little money to go ahead and pass out for
Okay.
to help. So they were a part of the process. So they felt like they
Mhm,
had fun,
mhm.
right? But there after the my presentation, I had a 14-year-old come and say, "Hey, I opened that high yield savings account you talked about." I was like, "What?" Now you could not have paid me to believe that boy was paying attention. Okay. I swear that he was on his phone playing video games. Matter of fact, I saw him like earlier playing video games. So who knew he was paying attention and doing that at the same time?
He took fast action.
Fast action. Every adult in the room was like, "Oh, I like that. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that maybe next week."
He
He
took care
did.
of it.
He took care of it. 14 years old, right? I had
Wow.
a 19-year-old come to me and say, "Oh, I'm in college. I'm a freshman in college. What should I be doing with my money?" Imagine if you were 19 even having that conversation.
Oh, man, I wish
You
yes.
know what I'm saying? Like even thinking about what he should be doing with his money. There was
Yes.
a younger girl. She was 28. She was older. Older girl. I mean, she was 28, but still young, like a young
Mhm.
adult. And her mom was aware of everything I was talking about, right? And she looked at her mom and said, "Well, why didn't you tell me?"
Ooh.
Isn't that like, imagine that. Sometimes all of us will have great, amazing information, but won't even tell our loved ones that are right next to us. Can you
Mm.
believe? I mean, that's real. I mean, even those of you guys who have life insurance and have the right kind and all that, did your family have life insurance? Have you shared it with them? Right? Because a lot of times we get in our head, oh, they probably don't need to know this. They probably not gonna care. You don't know. I wish
Mhm.
somebody exposed this information to me when I was 25.
Yeah.
When somebody first exposed it to me when I was 31, I initially said no. I didn't understand it. It took
Why'd you say
time.
no?
I said no because of what was in the chat. I was like, I'm single. I had no kids. I felt that same thing. I was like, what do I
Ah.
need? I was a doctor, meaning that I'm educated, I'm
Mhm,
smart. I've always been relatively good with money, not as great as
mhm,
I am today, but I've always
mhm,
been, a saver. I owned a home at the time. I even owned a asset. And I
mhm.
still was like, I don't need that. Like, I think my mama and them got something for me. I don't know if they paying for it still. I don't know how
Uh-huh.
much it is. You know what I mean? It could have lapsed. I know nothing. But
Wow.
my mind, it took a while for me to understand it. And
Mm,
honestly, what ended up happening to me is I purchased a car, a Mercedes, actually.
mhm.
I purchased a Mercedes. And when I got to the dealership, they were like, okay, so now you need insurance. And I was like, I didn't put that in my budget. But guess what happened? I adjusted my finances because I wanted the car. Now, my
Mm.
insurance was $200, but I didn't want to pay $200 for life insurance. So let's think about that. My car felt important to me, but not my life.
Right. Ooh. Yeah.
You see, like, isn't that
Yeah.
something? I may
Yeah.
not ever, you see how like I may not ever get into a car accident. Like,
Mm-hmm.
since I've been in one car accident since I got that car, and that was like I've had multiple renditions of it, but in the last 10 years I've been in one car accident. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't even in the car. It wasn't even me driving. So just let's
Mm.
think about how often do you even get car accidents? But
Right.
you're paying $200, $300 a month for something that you will never use.
Right.
But the beauty of paying $200, $300 a month for your life insurance is something that is inevitable. We all are going to use.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're going to use it at one point, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
it has benefits for you to use today by being able
Right.
to use savings and everything. So once I understood that part and I got to understand the savings, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm in this. You know what I mean? I got so excited that I became a life insurance agent.
Isn't that something? You
I
went
have
you went a step
like a
you went
whole
like 20 steps ahead. Right.
that's how excited I was. You know what I
Right.
mean? It wasn't,
Right.
I didn't need like to be a life insurance agent for money. I already had a job, already had
Mm-hmm.
a doctor degree, already, I had a private
Mm-hmm.
practice. I was okay financially. I
Mm-hmm.
did it because I became passionate about what it was once I
Mm.
understood it. And I
Yeah.
wanted other people to understand like me.
Yeah. And you know what I really appreciate about you, Dr. Roche? Not only do you are able to present information that most people feel to be complicated or they don't want to talk about or they don't think it's important, but you're able to provide the information in a way that Black people can understand why this is so important and
Yeah.
ways that we can make money in different ways that many of us never considered. So I see
Yeah.
in the chat, people are like, oh, I love those kind of kids. Yeah, kids are on it. They're like, okay,
Yeah.
tell me, okay, I got it. So just as
Mhm.
older adults, we need to kind of get up on it, get informed, be open, ask
Mhm.
questions, consult with Dr. Roche, do
Yeah.
those things. And I see another comment. Hey, ladies, this is awesome to see us talking about this, especially since I'm a licensed insurance agent. Yes, we
Mhm.
don't talk about this. We
Yeah.
do not talk about life insurance. We do not talk about this. But the hope is that the more that you are informed, if you watch
Mhm.
this video, you get more information, you check in with Dr. Roche, you get more information and you
Mhm.
prepare. You
Yeah.
prepare. So
That's what I always tell people, like in the industry, like it's only 4% that's African American that's even in the industry that even talks
what?
about it.
Whoa.
Now, 4% of that are Black people even consider talking about life insurance. Okay. So, shout out to the other life insurance agent because we need to have more people out there sharing
4%.
because the reality
4%.
is, huh?
4%. Why is that?
Because life insurance and even like wealth industries, financial industries is normally honestly like old white bald men, right? Like that's what it is.
Mhm.
Now, is he going to go into our neighborhoods, go into our communities, go into our conferences, our workshops and tell us about it?
Yeah.
No. That
Yeah.
means we're never going to get exposed to all of this power that's inside of
Wow.
life insurance.
Wow.
So that's why we have to be a part of the industry so we can teach and share with people like us,
Hmm.
so they can even know to use it. We wouldn't even know we wouldn't know to use it at all if nobody sat there and I would have never known to use it if
Mhm.
my friend didn't decide to share it with me.
Yeah. And that part that you said was so, so relevant is seeing, and I think that the negative associations that some Black people have with life insurance is that they see people have been paying, and then the person passes and there's nothing, but they don't know the type of life insurance they
Yes.
had.
Yes. That's why I'm saying, even if you have life insurance, let's check it out. Let's
Yeah.
look at it.
Yeah.
I do client appreciation seminars, my own clients, right? And despite that, I feel like I'm great at like, educating people and stuff. But even them, they were like, you still can get overwhelmed when you first purchase a product and
Mhm.
only remember one piece and not all of the pieces and
Mhm.
everything. Well, I did a client appreciation seminar and I just reminded them, hey, these are the benefits of your policy. That's when my client was able to say, hey, I had a heart attack 2 years ago. I was able to touch my policy? And I was like, yeah, you could have. Because the
Wow.
thing about it is that when you get a heart attack, you're not thinking about like, let me call my life insurance agent.
Right. Not right.
You
Right.
forget about that, but
Yeah.
I was able to remind them, hey, the person who you would share it with, give them my number. So if
Mm.
something was to happen, they can call me and I could put in a claim for you while
Mm.
you're still living.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even a $20,000, $30,000 check will change, your life, even if that's all it is.
And just think about the stress level, right? So if you've had a heart attack and you are able to be in a situation or leverage that money to decrease your stress level, then that might increase the length of time that you're able to live after the heart
Exactly.
attack. Your quality.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You see this?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but we don't know. You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
don't know what we don't know. Well, I mean,
Mm.
this is amazing. That's why I feel like I get excited about it. I
Yeah.
know it works. He's seen, heard, met people who've gotten checks. You know what I mean? I've seen the checks. Like, I know it works.
Yeah.
Excuse
Have
me.
you ever seen somebody, everybody watching, have you ever seen somebody so excited about life insurance? I've never. I've never. But that's just how Dr. Roche is. Like anytime she shares information, she has so much energy and such compassion. And even when she was working with me to get my financial plan together to leave a toxic job, I was so anxious and scared. But she was like, real talk. What is the amount of money you need to leave this job? And I didn't know. But I was able to confront those fears because of the way she interacted with me. And so I
Yeah.
appreciate that. And for us to think about the financial masterclass, something else we talk about is how to replace your income. So as you're
Yes.
making that pivot to a different job, we all got bills to pay. So we all need some money coming in, but we're going to talk about ways to replace your income. And I'm going to share with you about the ways I replaced my income to create multiple streams of income, which is so important for us as Black women. Can you just speak to that really quickly? And then we're going to wind down for real. Okay.
Yes.
Why is it important for Black women to have multiple streams of income?
Because for one thing, we want options, right? We want options. If you're at a toxic job, okay, a job that is killing you.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, this is what I mean. When something's toxic, right? That's what it's doing. It's killing somebody, right?
Yeah.
So if that is happening, you want to have an option to leave.
Yeah.
Well, it's better, honestly, to start an additional stream of income while you're still at that job. So you know how to utilize that income to help this business grow.
Yes.
Once that happens, now you're like, hey, I can leave, I can go, right? But we need to have, rivers overflowing, right? Of like the streams. So,
that's what Stephanie Perry says. Have rivers of income, okay? Not streams, rivers of income.
We need that to be overflowing, right? So that's what we're looking for. Yeah, honestly, is for us to have multiple streams so we can have options to do other things, right? In our lives and live our lives to the fullest, I mean, to travel, I mean, even to start imagining again, like a lot of times are in that state of depression because we can't even get creative and see possibilities anymore.
Yeah. And the stress, because now you feel like the job is your only source of income. So that fuels the depression even more because you feel helpless and hopeless. I can't go nowhere because I got bills and the job is the only place where I can make money. But that's not true. That's not true. And so when you find other ways, so you have those multiple streams of income, then you're less dependent on staying at a toxic job or a job you've outgrown. Okay. So that's something we're talking about in the masterclass too. So everyone, thank you so much for watching today. Thank you so much to Dr. Roche for being here today. And everyone, if you have not already subscribed to my channel and Dr. Roche's YouTube channel, please do so. Turn on the notification bell so you know we upload another video. And please share this video with at least 2 other Black women getting that financial masterclass. Again, information will be in the description section about getting on the waiting list. So I will see you later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.